before. In the military, we're taught to never leave anyone behind. And in this situation, that person is my son. And I would not leave him behind. Like I said, we recovered human remains out here in this desert, doing what we're doing right here, the line searches. And, just searching the terrain, and we found human remains. So, I don't know what happened to my son, if foul play happened, or what the case may be. If he's out here, I need to find him and bring him back home to his mother, his siblings, to me, his grandparents. We need to make sure he's not lying here on the ground. Like on some of the unfortunate family members of people that we found out here. So this is another wash area with water.
Going to the wash.
This is a wash here that we're
going to get to the other side of the wash here, and then we'll do a line hold.
Yeah, these are the washes. It's kind of sometimes hard to get through. Like I say, this is where water flows through. A lot of times they carry debris. You can tell by how the terrain pushes these plants down. They come back towards me. And so we'll go through these washes really delicately. And I look up and down, because I don't know how high the water flows, because sometimes flash flooding, you'd be surprised how far up the riverbank or the bank of the wash that the water actually flows through. So, it's a lot of sticks.
We've got a few people still on the wash, so let's do a line hold here. Andrew, are you on top of the hill by the sidewalk?
Okay. I was going down the wash to make sure all the volunteers made it out of the wash. This is a nice tree up on the wash, but a lot of cattle like to hang out under here, so to cool off. But everybody's good? Okay.
Yep, I'm good over here. Copy.
Clear. I got you, Rose. You okay? Okay, good. I'll just come down the wash, make sure everybody out. Huh? You're the last? Okay. All right, we are a family out here, so we look out for each other. Like I said before, I'm not willing to risk the life of any volunteer. Not one. They are very special people to take their time out to show empathy and love for somebody else. A person they never met Daniel. But you know what? They share my pain. They share my family's pain. And they're out here braving this heat, braving this terrain, just to scrub the ground. You may have an exit out here, Elaine.
There's like 300 yards in front of you. If you could follow the line, please. Do that.
That's the line. Everybody. What we did, we covered from that road there, Sunville Parkway, all the way across here. What we did, we came up first, up north. Now we're heading back south towards our vehicles. You can probably see the vehicles on the side of the road out there. Maybe not, but the vehicles out there on the side of the road. So we're heading back towards our vehicles. But like I said, I like to go up and down the line. A lot of times, most of the time, I'm ahead of the line to make sure the volunteers are safe. I like to also, go places where my heart leads me. And I'm grateful the volunteers stay in line, and we do extensive searches. So that is the blessing part. So you may have ran into something else. I got some paper. Do I need to come over there, Lane? Okay. Okay. All right. So the line is getting a little tighter. Hey there, Rose. Oh. Oh, it's something else? Okay. I got it, Lane. All right, we call hold and have to check out the bone.
Copy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
All right.
Pretty old.
Yes, thank you so much. Like I said, it could be anybody. You never know.
Yeah.
If you have a hole
All
where
right, so.
somebody is actively looking at whatever, we can continue the line rather than
Yeah, y'all go ahead. Clear. Y'all go ahead. That's
We're
right.
just gonna wait. We're just kind of lining up again, and we're gonna clear.
Oh, we're lining up. We're lining up. Yeah, hold on a second. We're lining up.
We're clear.
Okay. Alrighty. And what we do is, again, go to policehelpfinddaniel.com. Go on to submit info. I don't know if this camera can pick that up, but submit info. And let's see here if I can get it better view. Well, this camera won't show on here, but you go to submit info. And what we do is put your name in there. I have a kind of preset for myself. Thank you, Rose. And they have a coordinates box. But what I do first is I go ahead and take the picture under that website. And if you don't know if you can see that there, but I take the picture. A lot of times I like to take it at different angles, so I'll take another one. And then what you do, for me, for the coordinates, since I have it on my phone, you also can do it through Google and things like that. But what we do is also we use Gaia GPS. Evan has that. I don't use it personally, but the volunteers use it, and they use the Gaia GPS to get the coordinates when they're taking their pictures, and they can copy and paste. But I have a different app here on my phone. So what I do is I copy and paste the hold on a second here. I also screenshot, but I copy and paste the coordinates, and then I go back and I add it to. Add the copy and paste to the screen, and then once I do that, I send it off. All you do is send it off to. There we go. Submit.
David, I got a bone right here.
Another one? Okay.
A vertebrae.
Oh, wow. Okay. And see, yeah, another vertebrae. Let's see, this goes up to the Buckeye Police Department. Goes up to my investigator. And also, copy goes to myself. And that way we keep it documented. And also, we can come back and check and see if that was recovered by the police department. But now we just have a vertebrae over here. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Vertebrae over here. Oh yeah, something's up there eating it, huh?
She wasn't gonna pull it out, but she did, and there it was.
Oh well. Okay, see that's the vertebrae there. It could be animal.
Big, huh?
It's really big, but still we're not professionals, so I do it anyway. Rose, thank you, Rose.
Oh, that was unexpected. It was the stick.
That is unexpected.
Right on top of
Okay, again, I do submit info. I'm gonna go down here, put my name in. I have a preset, so
You want me to go through the door?
I'll kick it down
Okay.
with my boot. Once I get finished taking the picture.
Okay.
Thank you, Rose. But that's a part there for the coordinates. Again, that's foul. Like I said, I like to take the pictures first. That's me. And I go, oh, getting stuck here. Oh, getting stuck. Okay. All right, well, I'll try to get close as I can to take the picture. Okay, this is kind of difficult, but I'll take a picture of it. And so we can send it up to the Buckeye Police Department. But there's a coordinate section here. What I do is, because I have a coordinates here on my phone, I can copy and paste it there. Also, I do a screenshot for myself of it as reference. Okay. I also add my screenshot to, 1 second here. Add my screenshots to the file also. And then I add the coordinates. All you do is copy and paste that. So just copy and paste that. And then you submit info.
Hey, Elaine, I think we're good.
Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. Yeah, submit info. And that's it. And that's it. Oh, I'm gonna get stuck here in this. But now I'll catch up with the volunteers. Oh, well, I said I was gonna kick that down. Sometimes
We're done over here, guys.
sometimes things like this, because the water goes through here, like I said, it collects some stuff. It also can collect animals, so I have to be careful. Snakes. So we did run into a snake. So I kind of pull that out to kind of see if anything else fall out of there, but it don't look like anything there. But we pull things out to check. Now, we get up to the volunteers. We parked out there on the road. So we're pretty much finished with the line searches for the day. Everybody kind of spreading out, doing their thing. I kind of try to make sure that everybody is not behind me. It's a good thing. Once we get near the end, I try to stay in the back instead of the front, like I do sometimes. But this time I'm staying in the back to make sure that everybody cleared the desert. I should be the last man out here. The volunteers should be making it back to their vehicles, back to our command area, and keep everybody safe. But like I said, this is very, very, very difficult. Every time I come out here, it's very, challenging, and it tears you apart. It's intimidating. When you think you're done, and then you end up, think you're done, and then next thing you know, you got all of this. If you look out there, areas that haven't been searched.
Yeah, the whole looks like animal bones.
Hold. You need to come up there.
Yes.
Roger. Okay, well, somebody found more bones because we don't know what it is. We're not experts out here again. Our job is to take the picture, get it up on policehelpfinddaniel.com under submit info, take the picture, get the coordinates, send it up to the website. It's linked up to the Buckeye Police Department, my investigator, and myself. So get those copies. I have to catch up with the volunteers. If y'all want to keep moving, y'all can. I'll just go ahead and take care of it. Jenny, you call the hole? Okay. Can you stay right there? I'm coming.
My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job.
Did you start kind of interviewing the people in the circle, or you go out to the side, or what happens?
Well, that is a long trip. You know, you can imagine I'm doing everything from the car while I'm driving, talking to co-workers, to this company, to the police department, trying to get things done while I'm driving. Once I made it to Arizona, I did get a call from my auntie from Philly, telling me that the police department was putting a Phoenix Firebird, it's called, it's a helicopter called Phoenix Firebird in the air. I was relieved, but I was right there, so I'm like almost 3 days later. Once I got into town, the first thing I wanted to do was start my own investigation. And one of those things was to talk to the only person that saw my son last.
I have to think that your training in the Army had to have helped something. I mean, is it a grounding for you? I mean, I know that the love for your son certainly pushed you, but something about being in the military must have helped you.
It did a lot. One of the things that I learned when I was in the military is that we never leave a battle buddy behind. And that's no matter what. We were not leaving a soldier behind. And so my son, he's my son. And I'm definitely not leaving him behind. That's thank you.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still searching for him. Thank you, everybody, for coming in to today's Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son, Daniel, he was from Columbia, South Carolina. He graduated out of the College of Charleston, got his degree in geology. My son decided to move his career out into Phoenix, Arizona, where he landed his first job immediately after he graduated from college. With a company called Matrix New World. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. There, my son was hired on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. And the reason why he's a hydrogeologist is he go out into the various well sites all over the state of Arizona, to out there in the desert to assess the viability of wells that have to be built whenever communities are being built out there in the desert. Those wells have to be there to produce at least 100 years of water, drinking water. And his job is to determine if that well will be able to produce 100 years of that water, the water levels and things like that that come out the well. Also, he checked the rock sediments that come out the bottom of those wells. Of course, he's a geologist. That's his expertise to know what type of rock, what kind of debris the rock sediments down in the bottom of those wells. Make sure the water is drinkable. He was doing just that job, like he always do. My son often calls his family. He calls his mother. He calls his siblings from his work site. He called me. Usually I have a 2-hour conversation with Daniel while he's at work. It's the nighttime. Sometimes he works during the night hours out there in the desert, and sometimes he works in the day. In the daytime, he used a canopy to keep the sun off his head. You can imagine in the desert, there's no shade out there. You know, the vegetation, which is a little different from my experience in Afghanistan. The vegetation level in this desert in Arizona is very high, but at the same time, those vegetation is barely any shade from the sun, unless you're almost literally lying on the ground, and that's not what he does. But my son, like I said, spent a lot of time at these well sites all over Arizona. On this particular day, like no other, he got his assignments. And when he got his assignment, he went to a first well site at around 7 o'clock that morning. And then he eventually made it to the well site off of Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road, where this whole chain of event happened, how he disappeared. According to the worker that was out there at the well site, waiting on my son from a company called Weber, my son had contacted him and they asked him how to get to the location. He had directed them into the location there. They met off of Sun Valley Parkway near Cactus Road gate. And they had a conversation there where I was told that my son followed him into this desert to make it to that well site. They had to go 1 mile west and then had to go 2 miles north to make it to this well site. Once upon arriving to the well site, the worker said my son and him had a conversation about the weather. My son wanted to close the site down and go home because of the rain that was coming, and that the pending rain that was coming. And so he said, hey, he's looked at the cell. He felt like the cell was going to pass by and that it was no need to shut it down. My son thought differently. They had a conversation. Of course, the worker said that my son had, to him, opinions acting strange or odd or whatever the case may be. My son waved off to him, got in his vehicle, and he drove off, where my son has never been seen again. Almost 30 days later, my son's vehicle showed up here in this ravine. Right here, right behind me is the picture of that vehicle. Outside of that vehicle is his clothing, everything my son's wearing on his body, underwear down to socks off on that pile there. His safety vest which was described by this worker that he was wearing that day, is right there on the ground, right there about a foot away from that pile of clothing. Inside the vehicle was my son's cell phone, the same cell phone that my family and I had been calling almost a day, a little over a day, that constantly been ringing until it finally, I'm sure, died. And then we started going straight to the voicemail. Also was in that vehicle his work computer that he got his assignments with, was in that vehicle. And also, like I said, some of his other personal items, like his keys and some other little things back there. But also outside the vehicle, like I said, was his wallet, it was his clothing, but his wallet was inside his pants pocket. His pants was turned inside out. And but like I said, the theory from the police department was about the injuries that they believe that Daniel didn't sustain, but at the same time he sustained. The injuries wasn't that he got hurt in the vehicles, what I was told by the Buckeye Police Department, but at the same time say he had a severe brain injury, most likely. And he kicked his way out the sunroof, and then he shredded his clothes because of this brain injury. My son, like I said, haven't been seen again. Of course, I didn't like the theories of the Buckeye Police Department for some other details that you guys may know. If you have questions about it, you can ask me those questions. So Q&A is for here this morning. But my theories that I had to hear from the Buckeye Police Department, from things like my son maybe had wanted to join a monastery and become a monk, to he shredded his clothes off because of brain injury and succumbed to his injury, and maybe a wildlife animal got him or something. I had to go through those theories just to hear those things, just to say, hey, no, I need a second opinion. I hired my own private investigator who received all the information from the Buckeye Police Department that they returned over to him, say they didn't have an investigation. So they gave him everything. They told me they didn't have no leads to follow. So they gave me everything that you guys see here on the scene, from the vehicle to the clothing, you name it, all in my possession. The Buckeye Police Department, from that point, moved on from my son's case. Since then, of course, I'm a father who's been working hard, fighting for my son. I made sure that I kept his name out there in the public eye, pushed really hard on social media, created this YouTube channel, for instance. But before I created this YouTube channel, I was reaching out, passing out flyers to, you name it, to keep my son's name out there. It finally went national, his story. And once it went national, all of a sudden, the Buckeye Police Department said they have an investigation. But the problem I have with that department is, how do you conduct investigation without the clothing that I have on the scene here? The vehicle that you see right here on the scene here, I have it in my possession, without them doing any type of forensic work. The picture you guys see on this picture here behind me is from the Buckeye Police Department's inventory that they gave over to me when they turned everything over to me and said they didn't have an investigation and they didn't have any more leads to follow. This picture here represents what they haven't done, and that was the forensic work. There was no forensic work done at the scene. There was no cataloging of the items with markers. And, like I said, all the things were turned over to me without question, if indeed there's a possibility my son being the victim of foul play. They quickly ruled that out, said, no, there's no foul play, and there's no need to even do an investigation. But I continued to do my investigation from day one, when I questioned the guy at the well site, and also the workers, and also conducted my own searches for my son with volunteers. People that's here, some of you guys are right here in the chats, like Gina. Thank you for coming out to the searches, and I really appreciate you guys. Sophia, for coming out to the searches. Barry, Larnell, all of you guys for coming out to the searches, and everybody else who was in the chat. Carolyn, I see you there. Thanks so much for coming out to the searches, and everybody else. I don't want to miss any names, so I want to make sure I kind of avoid the saying names, because I will end up missing somebody, and I want to make sure everybody, because everybody in the searches that come out, they'll stand on my side from day one. I don't care if you came out for one day, one of the searches, you guys have been champions in that search. And it wasn't the law enforcement that was involved in my searches. It wasn't any outside agencies. It wasn't any nonprofit organizations. It was just you guys and myself. So I'm really grateful for you guys that have been coming out to these searches and has been happening. As you know, currently those searches are on pause. But like I was saying, I demanded some fingerprinting to be done on the scene here. Once I secured a meeting with the Buckeye Police Department, Chief Hall, Chief Sanders, and his whole crew, and they did so. At least they told me they did so. They put in a report that they have those. They did fingerprinting. I have yet to get any information about their fingerprinting, though I asked for it. But I'm still waiting on it. Currently, I have no relationship with the department. They rarely have talked to me. I did talk lately, just the other day, to Detective Biffin, according to a tip that you guys probably know about that's been circulating around. We're looking into it. And when I say we looking into it, I'm looking into it as my own investigation, my investigator, and also, like I said, my own investigation, my investigator, but also the Buckeye Police Department claiming they're looking into it also. So I would see what I checked into it, the Buckeye Police Department on yesterday to see what they came up with. He said he would let me know if they come up with something. There's some little details, of course, I cannot discuss on here, but I can tell you they telling me they're checking into it along, like I said, alongside what I'm doing. But anyway, we do have some leads to follow. Very disturbing type deal. But you know what? I still have my faith in God and you guys. I have you guys as support. And I really appreciate you guys coming out this morning to this Q&A. Again, my name is David Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm here doing this Q&A to answer you guys' questions about the case. Like I said, we all are family here. You guys took the time out in your own life to be a part, to support the cause. And, like I said, you guys never met Daniel, but at the same time, you met Daniel. Daniel's the person that brings people together. He always have. He brings our family together. He's the one that always stands in the gap. Daniel's a scientist. He's a brilliant mind man. He has dreams and aspirations. He's a real human being. Dreams and aspirations to do great things, be a millionaire before he turned 30, travel abroad, learn about other people's cultures. He's just a people person. He loved life, he loved nature, and he loved his job. He loved his family, and we love him back. So you guys have shared in our family's pain. So I have my days, saying I'm really staying strong for my son. That's what my military training helps a lot. The fact that I have God and also, my love for my son. So, and my family, the family backing also. So all the combination of those things can help me continue to fight. I would tell you guys that also because of the situation with my son, it's bigger than just our family. I say this often because it's true. I had a chance to hear the stories of other family members, of people who out there who have missing loved ones, who suffering just like we are. I had to go through the facts of watching the Jelani Day case back in the past, the Petito family case back in the past. And, those are the first instances when I hear so much about family members out there missing their loved ones. And on the circumstances like Jelani Day and his mother, Carmen, the fact that, don't have the answers that we really need about what really happened. That's very devastating for a family. And also some of the other families that I was able to talk to along the way, who have family members who never have the opportunity for their stories to be told. That's where, you can't be human to hear those stories and don't want to do anything about it. Don't want to help somehow, some form of fashion. And I guess the same way you guys feel when you hear the story about Daniel, you want to help in some form of fashion. I really appreciate it because you guys did show up. You're the reasons why to help me be here, constantly be in Arizona to make sure that I stay here on the ground fighting for my son. You guys help to keep the searches going, the equipment that I needed to do the searches out there. And I've been doing it for over 40 weeks. And also you guys have been helping me with getting these banners and things like that together, where I was getting these flyer distributions and things like that. It's constantly going. It's a constant thing. And I constantly need those fundings to keep going. And you guys have been doing that for me. So I'm really grateful for you guys doing that. But I can say, to share back, I had that passion to help other families. That's why I founded the Daniel Robinson Foundation. And that foundation has already been filed. And we will be doing some great things. I have a great team, what I call an 18 of people who's also on the board. and they are asking the people to get this thing going. My goal is to help as many families as we can. And so, so I'm really grateful for that part to give back. Also, the searches out there has brought some type of closure to some families who have probably been missing loved ones for years. We found human remains out there, got those things over to the Buckeye Police Department, also Maricopa County, and Sheriff Department, Coroner's Office. And also that should hopefully bring some sense of closure to somebody's family. It's difficult for a family to get a loved one in that condition. It's also hard for me when we were finding those remains out there. Fear that it could have been Daniel. Later found out it's not, but still it remains a problem in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because one of those things is those remains we found out there was somebody's family. Somebody's family just lying on that ground, scattered all over the place. And you know what? That's not the fate that I would like to see my son if he's out there. So the goal is to recover him if he's out there, to make sure he's not scattered all over that desert out there, and make sure we bring him home properly. If he's not out there, that's why I have the search it, the city distribution for you guys to help me distribute these flyers out and things like that. That's very helpful to my cause, because you know what, it serves a lot of purposes. It serves a lot of purposes because there may be someone that have heard something. They just don't know I'm still looking, or know I'm looking at all, and they may say something. That's one of the goals. The goals there is to get the word out there everywhere, every state, no matter where you're at, no matter what country you're in. Somebody could have moved abroad and hear the story and have seen something that day, or know somebody who knows something and say something. So that's very important for me to get those flyers out. Also, because I don't know what happened to my son. I had to go by a theory from one guy. The theories that we have here about what happened to my son come from one person, and that started off at the well site. That one story leads on to everything else. And because of that, I don't know if my son escaped or something going on. If he's out there somewhere, just don't know who he is, suffer brain injury like they saying. I had to consider all of that. I'm biased. I don't believe it. It don't sound right to me, but I still have to put the possibilities out there in my brain somehow and say, hey, look, I need to go out there and look in that direction to see if he's out there. So get the word out there is very important on that behalf also. The last thing about awareness, also putting the word out there helps everything I'm doing here. You know what I'm saying? Somebody hear the story, they want to help out some kind of way. I need all the help I can get, whether there's from volunteers to people who want to pass out the flyers, to signing that petition, which I need your support on, and also for donations to help out the cause, to keep me here on the ground, like I said, in Arizona, to provide those things I need, these forensics that I'm going to have done. Really pushing that hard, and I really hopeful and praying that this foundation can get us there. That kind of stuff. So it helps in all kind of different ways. You may think of some other ways that help. And one thing I ask for you guys to also is to consider. I put it out a couple of days ago. I have some people who have some interest in it already. I'm sure they put it up on the website. Please, if you can, go to pleasehelpfinddane.com. There's other ways that you can help. Tab there, volunteer in other ways. Volunteer in other ways tab is right here, scroll on the bottom of the screen. What I'm asking for is that, I need ambassadors to help with this flyer distribution. And I want to, like I say, I want to hit every state, every city that I can. And if you're from a different city, a different state, wherever you're at, if you guys can go to that volunteer in other ways tab, put in your information there, and then put a little special note in there that you want to be an ambassador. And then once I get your information, I can have this, give me your information where I can give you a call, or we can have a little meeting and I can tell you what the whole details of that involved. So I really need volunteers for that to help get those flyers out there, far reach, get them far as we can. My goal at first, when I first started the flyer distribution, it was I called it the city search at the time. And what I did is had those flyers made. They was big, about the size of a notebook paper, laminated, had a bunch of them. And we'll go to whether it's the hospitals, to the mental health wards, to the homeless shelter. It's more geared towards the homeless population, though. and we go out there and try to get those areas done. I later found out through what changed that is the fact that I had to go to these homeless shelters to try to get to the homeless population, and they have these I call them turf wars, where one homeless shelter is one across the street on one side and the other one's on the side, and they don't allow you in their area first of all, and then hey, you can't. Those homeless shelters, they just had these wars. These homeless shelters don't mess with this homeless shelter, and they don't let you in. They wouldn't even let us in the gate. They make sure. I mean, they make sure we stay out in the street and things like that. So that became a problem. I need to get these flyers out, one way or the other. And one of those things was to design the cards the way I have. Like I told you before, I made them smaller size of postcard so a person can carry, because I found that was very difficult for people to carry around. And also to just get the flyers out everywhere. So not just the homeless population in Phoenix or some other areas, Tempe or whatever, but to get it everywhere. Because like I said, these flyers, they're very important. So if you guys have interest in that, the ambassadorship, I call it, please hit that help in other ways tab. Go out and put your information there and put a little special note that you're interested into being an ambassador in your city, in your own city, your own state. And we'll go from there, and I'll explain the details to you when I get a chance to speak to you myself. So thank you for that. Also, don't forget the anonymous tip line that I have on the bottom. You guys have a tip, please, by all means. My family is dependent on it. I'm dependent on it. I've been doing this for 10 months. It's going on 11 months. And the hard part is, I've been asked about it for the last several days, weeks. And it's getting closer to a year that my son has been missing. And, that always puts you in an emotional roller coaster. We had the last year, the Thanksgiving with Daniel, not part of the family, part of that Thanksgiving break. And then we had the Christmas holiday where he wasn't a part with his family. And also the New Year's, bringing the New Year's without my son. And then his birthday in January, the difficulty, and then we have all these anniversaries every month, constantly a new month that Daniel has been missing. Those things are very hard. It wears and tears on our family. It wears and tears on me, being on the ground, constantly searching for my son, trying to find ways, come up with different ways to better search for him, better put out information, things like that. So relying on you guys. I'm relying on you guys so much. But you know what? I'm a type of father who would, and type of man who don't stand up to challenges. I'm definitely going to fight and do everything I can for my son. Rather, if I had to do it myself, like you say, you guys saw me, I had to go out here to Arizona to do it myself when I felt that department's not going to do what their job is. I had to do it myself. So that's how my mindset is. And I want to make sure I'm there for my children, my family. It's a man's job. It's a man's duty. And it's my honor to be a father and make sure my family is safe and my son get his justice and everything else he deserves. So I want to say good morning to Kathy. Thank you for being here this morning. Heels in the air. I really appreciate you coming out this morning to join the Q&A. Thank you also, Jocelyn, for being here this morning. Thank you, Esther, for being here. Thank you, Kay Watson. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your prayers, and I really need those. Thank you, Brooklyn Michelle. I really appreciate it. Good morning to you. Sending prayers and vibes. Thank you so much. And I hear the prayers, and I want you guys to remember that the upcoming fast and prayer for Daniel, is getting close to that point. And, you have more information. You see it you go to the events tab on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and that information about it is there. Constantly we update that to as we get closer. All right. Thank you, Twistina, for being here this morning. Thank you, Raymond. I really appreciate you coming out this morning, being a part of this Q&A. Doohickey, thank you so much. If you guys have any questions concerning this case and everything that's going on with my son and things like that, please feel free to ask these questions. That's what the Q&A is for. If you can please put the capital letter Q before your question, or a bunch of question marks, a big question mark, or like I said, the word question in all caps before you ask your questions. That way, as I'm coming down the comment section, I had to go down kind of fast sometimes, and I don't want to miss your question. But if I do miss your question somehow, please ask again. There's no harm in that. But definitely I don't want to miss it the first time. So it helped me find your questions. If I come down the comment section and can see that, I really appreciate. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don, for being here. I really appreciate you coming out this morning. She Rose Nation, thank you so much for constantly coming out. I really appreciate your presence. Thanks so much, Rachel Arnold, for being here this morning. And I really thank you also, I believe, Jocelyn. Thanks so much. Thank you, Sophia, for being here this morning. Thank you for being part of the queue. Thank you for being part of the team and also being this everything you do. Thank you so much for being a part of the board also. Thank you all, Ryan, for being here this morning. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. T and Flowers, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Lupus, Mom, Mimi, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I thank you for representing your calls. I'm sure the ribbon there is for represent your calls. Thank you so much for, and I pray for in the situations that you see how the word lupus there. And, I understand that lupus thing. So prayers and everything else with that. Also, thank you so much for being out here on the Q&A. Thank you, Nikki, for being here this morning. Thank you, Ruthie, for coming out here this morning. I really appreciate you guys for showing up. Thank you, Barry. Good morning to you. Thanks for being a team member and everything on the board. I really appreciate it. God bless you for coming out this morning. And you guys, if you can, please hit that like and subscribe button. That really would help the algorithms get this channel out there. You guys got this channel to 1,000 subscribers really quick. I really appreciate that. That did help give me a reach out to other people. And as long as you guys doing that, just encourage others to come watch this Q&A. I know some of you guys come out every morning, every Q&A mornings, and hear some of the same things. That's what this channel is for. It's to help other families. I do want to mention that I may have a family coming on. I tried to get the family on this morning. It was pretty much a late notice for him, but hopefully he'll be coming on this evening on the Q&A prime time. So if you guys can come back to that prime time this evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time and also Arizona time. And also that'll be 8:30 p.m. Eastern time for you guys to come out and to that Q&A. Hopefully he'll be on. That's what we're working on. He should be coming on to talk about his mother. His mother went missing, and I want to make sure that he get the word out. I tried to share as much information I could with him on how did I start some of the things I have started. We had a little discussion in the background about it. And I'm really hoping that it can help. Also, he was able to talk to Evan Short about some of that stuff, everything from the point of the logistics part and the coordinating part out there in the desert for the searches. So, so it helps out when you have a little information you learn a little bit more and to be able to help another family. So that's the biggest part. I'm saying we all go through the same thing. I know what that family's going through. That's his mother. That's his mother is missing. And I know he's going through a lot right now. It's a lot of confusion there. He's trying to get all that stuff together. So I can imagine, his pain he's going through right now. And, so we need to help him out. We need to help him out as much as we can so you guys can come back. And if you know anything, you can, listen to his story, what's going on with his mother. And maybe you guys know something and heard something and can help him out. So please come back for that Q&A prime time. Thank you, Yeti Con for being here. I really appreciate it. Dodge Fender for being here. I really appreciate you coming out to this Q&A. Thank you, Aaron, for coming out. And I really thank everybody who's showing up on this Q&A. If you guys have a question, please feel free to ask your question. Thank you, Carolyn, for being here. And I really appreciate you, Carolyn, for being part of the I call it the Desert Search family. You know what I'm saying? You're part of the whole family. You come out to the Desert Searches and also you pass out those flyers. Come out to the city distribution, pass out those flyers. I really appreciate it so much that you're spending a lot of your time. You know how it is. We military family also. And I really thank you for what you have done for this country also. And thank you so much for being a part, like I said, coming out there. Thank you also, Gina, for doing the same thing, coming out there for both the searches out there in the desert and also the searches, the city distribution, to taking all your time. I really appreciate you being here this morning. Also being a part of this Q&A. Really appreciate you a lot. Thank you, Forever Curious, for being here. And also thank you, Abundance Matthews. And I really like that. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it. that you have. And you say, have the young lady? He's okay. Okay, I think you must be referring to someone in there. But thank you so much for coming out. I'm not sure you responded to someone else in the chat. But thank you so much, Abundance, Matthew, for being out here. Also, thank you, Wicked Crafter, for being here. I really appreciate it. You guys if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. If I miss your question, please forgive me. I'm really going down this comment section. Oh, I see some coming up here, and I think I had a little jump on the comment section here, and I need to go back up a little bit and come back down so I can find your questions. All right, there we go. I want to say this real quick here. Yes, we do have the fast and prayer. It's on the 25th. Thank you, Carolyn, for giving me the date and remind me of the date. But yes, it's closer to the 23rd. We try to keep them close to the 23rd on a Wednesday. So I guess that 25th is falling on that Wednesday. And so we have the fast and prayer there. If you guys can please come out and join us with that. We did it before. You started putting a hashtag already. Use the hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. That would help out also. So it's not just because say fast and prayer for Daniel. That's because we're asking for something. We're asking for a common thing for me to find my son. I've been out here for 10 months to do so, and I really need to bring him home. And we asking for special miracles and asking God to step in and help. At the same time, I have not been neglectful of helping other families. So we need to also pray for those families too, who've gone through similar situations. They have loved ones that's missing, and we cannot leave them out also. So it's just because say fast and prayer for Daniel, it's not just for Daniel, but that's the lead of this whole fast and prayer is my son being missing. So we need to be part. All right, thank you, Sun Beach. Thank you for being here. And I do have the question, my first question here. And if I miss your question, please ask it again. Did the police take? Thank you, first of all, Mary, for being here. Did the police take everything off your son's phone? And did they investigate the other worker? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say the police took anything off Daniel's phone, but all that I can say about his phone is the police was the last person who had it before they turned it over to me. And when they turned it over to me, it was missing some things like the memory card, like I told you guys before, and the phone was wiped of certain things. Like, if we wanted to see what really the text message between him and the young lady happened, because you guys can read all that in the report and you hear this in the news. And, and it's sad because that's a one-sided conversation. In the court of law, they would call that hearsay. Hearsay meaning that where's the other side to that story? And then the fact that the woman was able to upload her own text messages up into their report. It's not something that the Buckeye Police Department got a warrant for or asked her for her phone and they did themselves. It's something she uploaded herself into their police report. Then, like I said, at the same time, the phone was given to me. All the text message between him and her has been deleted out of his phone. And so, except for everything else, all the text messages me and him had, for instance, his family, his friends, everything's intact, except for that conversations between him and the young lady was removed from that phone. Also, his geolocations was wiped from the phone and things like that. So a lot of things wipe off that phone, like I say, the memory card missing when that detective handed that phone over to me. So, and also the detective expressed that he cloned the phone. So the phone is cloned, which is against the law, I believe. You don't clone without a warrant, but that's what he told me. Also, and then they investigate the other worker. I wouldn't say investigate. They ask some questions. That's what we get the circle. That's what we get this whole thing from. Because what they told me, they questioned him. They asked him a question, and they went to him and asked him his side of the story, what happened, and they put it in a report. And we have this whole narrative about what happened. I guess the guy even did an interview out there now and saying what his side of the story is. And he's saying some of those same things he said to the police department. And so everything is based on his story, his testimony to whatever he said. You know what I'm saying? And that's to them, whatever he said out his mouth is law. And that's what the Buckeye Police Department is going with. No vetting the story, as far as I'm understanding, just for whatever he said. So that's where we're at, and that's what I have to go by to. I don't have any information other than that my son somehow just drove off, waved at him, drove off, and just never came back ever again in life. So that's where we're at right now when it comes to that. So thank you so much, Mary Vaughn, for your question. If you guys have any more questions, please ask, go ahead and put the question there. I did see some. I was strolling down the first time, and I will get back down at 2 of them. If I miss your question by accident, please ask it again. I do have one here from Aaron. Thank you again for being here. Has Dr. Phil show follow up with you at all? Well, not Dr. Phil. I'm grateful. He had requested me to be a part of the Crime Con event. That Crime Con event was very helpful in terms of getting me connected with a lot of people, and also to get Daniel's story out there a lot more. We was able to pass out thousands of flyers out there to get Dan. Vegas is a tourist city, and we was able to get those flyers out, and people get to take them home and things like that. So, hey, look, we in my book, we've sent flyers in probably every state in the United States somewhere where people just flood down in Vegas. So, I'm really grateful for that part of it, and also, like I said, these connections and these opportunities to appear on other people's networks and their platforms, and that's what it's all about. To get my son's name, keep my son's name out there. Don't let any family member. I say the same thing. Don't let your family member's story die with the news media who decides to when and where to play your loved one's story. That's what the YouTube channel right here is for. You create your own and put it out there. You do whatever you got to do. You got to do what to do to make sure that your family is being heard, their voice is being heard, and make sure you're putting the pressure on that department to do the right thing. And when you feel like it's not done right, I'm not saying all departments do the wrong thing, because I'm sure it's a lot of police departments. They did the right thing for that family when they had the FBI, the CIA, or whoever, all these kind of people, whatever they were, out there looking for the young lady and the murderer, her murderer. You know what I'm saying? So they had all kind of people. So, and they did the right things. They had from cadaver dogs to specialized planes to drones, and you name it. Everything is out there. They spend millions, probably thousands, I know, of dollars, near close to $1 million of dollars out there to search for these people. So they did the right thing. And we got to make sure that these departments, all of them, do the right thing for everybody, no matter who you are, what color you are, and everything else like that. And that's one of my things I'm advocating for. So Dr. Phil, I asked to be on the show. I did, apply for that. And like I said, in return, I believe he wanted me there on CrimeCon. So like I said, it was very helpful. And hopefully, in the future, I can put Daniel's story out there on Dr. Phil. Looking forward to that. I also have a question from Mary. Was there other people out there besides the worker and your son? Well, every time I go out there, there's always people out there, whether I see them or not. When I say I don't see them, hear people off in the distance. They do a lot of target practice out there. People go out there with their children or whatever. They go out and instead of going to the range, they like to set up their own little range or whatever and go out there. I've seen times I go out there by myself. Of course, guys, I don't announce when I go out there, but I go out there on the weekdays sometimes, and I have ran into people on their razors and things, joyriding, a whole group of them, joyriding and things like that. So people's always out there in that desert. But as in that day, I don't know. I don't know who was out there on June the 23rd. All I know is that this worker said my son is wave off and never been seen again. So if anybody was else out there, I don't know. We had one guy came up to me through when I say one of my former search coordinators brought him to my attention. The guy come out and dress himself as a federal law enforcement agent, as some of you people know, that he approached me. I looked at him. I did have a little instinct there to say, hey, I didn't really believe that he was a federal agent or officer, he called himself. And so I kind of dismissed him at first glance. And but he said he had the information that he seen my son or whatever. I didn't immediately just been judgment. I can be honest, I've been a little judgment on it because I didn't feel it was right. Sent him to my investigator. My investigator and this search coordinator told me they had vetted his story and that his story was credible and that it was true. He's a federal law enforcement officer. I even had had my family press conference, and my old, I keep using the word ex, but my old investigator, former investigator, he in that family press conference had verified that he indeed is a federal officer. We all was deceived. He was deceived somehow, and I definitely was deceived because I had to rely on those two people. When I do so much out here, I had to rely on my investigators' information. And I had to also rely on what the search coordinator had brought to me at the time. And so I did put him up as this federal law enforcement agent officer, and found out it was false. Found out he never was a federal law enforcement officer. He even showed me a badge. This guy showed me a badge that he was a federal law enforcement officer. I believed it, of course, because of, like I said, my investigator, and also because he showed me a badge and all of that stuff. Believe his story that he was the last person to see my son. He was out there target practicing. And one thing for sure, he did say he first saw my son by looking through his sights on his rifle. Then he secondly said he saw him a second time near a riverbed as he was with his children out there target practicing. He had a conversation with my son. My son was very polite, and he was like he's cleaning his vehicle, and he directed him over to where the proper place to where they shoot, where he target practice should go at. That's what he said. And then he told us that he saw my son around 1 o'clock ish. But when my investigator came out with the information from the infotainment system that suggests that the first accident happened around 1 o'clock, he moved his time back to 10 o'clock when he said he saw my son. So those things was kind of suspicious already. However, I stopped being quiet about it because, like I said, some information I found about this guy wasn't good. But I did later talk to Buckeye Police Department about it, Chief Detective Biffin. He said they vetted, this detective told me they vetted his story. His story is credible, and they believe him. But then I hear somebody here on this chat right now. She's listening right now. Beautiful, beautiful person who's, I'm sure, is might have a lot of logic in her thinking. She Rose Nation. She knows she is in this chat. Raise a question, and that's why I ask you guys. You have questions, please ask these questions. It helps me out too. I'm a person that like to deal on logics. If it don't make sense to me, I don't like to go with it. So a lot of things the police department has suggested to me, for instance, this brain injury caused my son to shred his clothes. I've had a brain injury from my time in Afghanistan, and I never had an urge or never ever shredded my clothes off with my brain injury. And also they say, well, his clothing, and that's why his clothing on the ground, and he could have probably had a change of clothing. But who takes their clothes off and take their underwear and socks off to change their clothes if they get a hot, hey, I want to take this jean, and especially put it in the pile. I mean, if a person have a brain injury, you tell me they may have a brain injury, have some kind of concussion, take their clothes off, but they're going to put it in a nice pile, things like that. If it's not logically sound to me, it don't make sense to me. I don't believe it. And so when Shero's Nation came out and said, hey, look, Mr. Robinson, how can your son give this man directions to where to target practice out there? And this is his first time ever been out there. My son have never been out there to that well site in his life until June the 23rd when he met that worker out there. His first time ever been out there. He cannot direct anybody anywhere, let alone this guy said around 10 o'clock, he moved the time to an hour after he got there. My son is an expert on to where he can shoot. Where this guy can shoot his rifle at with his children. So that blew that whole thing out of the water, but the Buckeye Police Department say it's corroborated. So that's the kind of thing that makes me sick when I hear those kind of things, when it don't make sense to me. And then the police department themselves say they believe it. So why are you believing that? Why are you believing it? Why you ask the question that Shero Nation asked right there? Why those questions didn't come up, and you're supposed to be experts at this thing. So that's the kind of thing. But once they find these questions, nothing else will be done about it. That's the point. So thanks so much for your question, Mary. I really appreciate it. As far as I know, you're just a worker and my son, but I'm sure other people's out there because always normally there's always someone else out there. Also, thank you, D. Zakiah. Thanks for being here this morning on this YouTube, from the YouTube, and also this Q&A. The question is, I know the rancher said the car wasn't there 3 days before. Is it possible that to geotag what phones were in the area in a certain time, certain place, place? I had someone do that out of North Carolina. Had an officer. He has
I think North Carolina allows something. He used some kind of technology, and he helped out with that, trying to find out phones in the area on that date with that. And lo and behold, according to him, he didn't get anything like that. Nobody was out there um, on that date except for something he said, some kind of way he explained. But the whole point is he didn't have anything that would suggest that almost like Daniel wasn't out there at all, the way he's describing it. So I'm really not really familiar with how the geotag thing worked, but I did have a guy out of North Carolina look into that for me at some time. So I probably had to go back and ask a little more questions on that, so I can get a little more familiar with that. But that's one thing that I got from that geotag type deal from those phones, to find out all the phones that's out there. Because the way he explained it to me, it's a system where they use now, where they don't have to go get a court order to go get cell phone pings. You know, so they can do it a different way, and that's the technique he had used. So I believe that's what you're talking about. Thanks so much for your question. All right. Also, thank you again, Sophia, for being here. I really appreciate it. You got putting that information out there in this comment section there, being moderators there. Also, sign that petition, donate to the GoFundMe. That's very important. And also, and other ways you can help. Please help finddane.com. There's a lot of ways that everybody can help if you can. They're all out there. Like I said, I even want this ambassadors in every city and state in this country who can help me in this information campaign that I have to get out there for my son's story. I need all of that. So you guys can help any way you can. I really appreciate that by going to pleasehelpfinddane.com. Other ways to help, and tab at the top, and you can fill out the information there. And then if you want to be an ambassador, you can put in that special slot there and say, hey, look, I want to also be an ambassador and for this flyers thing. So, and I will get in contact with you and we can go from there. So thank you. Arizona City Flyer Distribution on 7th Street and McDowell in Phoenix, Arizona, behind that Walgreens at 315 until 345. If you guys want to come pick up the flyers and you happen to be in the Phoenix area, please, by all means, come and get those flyers. We have plenty. And also, you can take them with you, and or you can walk with the team and myself and pass them out. So this please, if you can help in any kind of way with that, I really appreciate it. I do have a question from Esther. Thank you, Esther, for being here this morning. Do you have enough funds to start forensics testing on Dane's vehicle? Not yet. Saving it up for it. On his clothing? Not yet. Saving up for it. I really personally think it's morally wrong. The police have left this to you. It is. They should have done that at the scene. If they, like I said, they can say what they want to say to you guys. If you guys want to put whatever in the media. I'm sure there's a lot of, I'm pro-police, but there's a lot of pro-police out there that would ignore logic and common sense and would not, they're so pro-police, they don't question the police. In other words, they don't question them, and they don't make sure they're doing their jobs properly. If they say, the man can be sitting right here behind his desk and talk to a reporter on the phone, and they say, hey, how you out there? What y'all doing on Dan Robinson? I'm out here right now checking on Dan Robinson's case right now. I'm out here in the field. We working really hard today. We out here, and he's got his foot set back. I mean, but they won't question it. They're writing the paper. Yeah, the officer's out here today on such. They question them, but they don't verify it. That's what I'm saying, because they'll just take the officer's words for it. I don't care if you have a gun, badge, blue, whatever. I don't. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So what disgusts me is the fact that this department know what they did. They know they didn't take my son's case serious from day one. They didn't go do their first search for my son almost 3 days later when they decided to do it. No matter what I said, they rather hear what a coworker said, people who haven't even seen my son. That's why that's the thing. Oh, the coworker said he was acting odd and strange. They didn't even see my son that day. They haven't seen him the day before. So what's the odd and strange come from? They didn't. My son don't go in the office. He's a field geologist. He's a hydrogeologist. Field means he's out there in the field. He don't come up to no building. He don't work behind no desk. He's a field geologist. That's what he go out there and do. He's out there in the desert doing his thing. He don't come up there to the office. He don't see co-workers. He talk to them on the phone. He may see that coworker on the weekend, A coworker must say, hey, yeah, he was acting kind of weird that last weekend. What they got to do with June the 23rd? What they had to do with anything, his job? You know, so it's the kind of thing. The police department rather do that so they don't have to do anything. You know, hey, there's some dude that left and he can leave if he want to. How you know he want to leave if he want to? Did he tell you that? His family think otherwise, you know. So, you know, you need to go with that. So it's a lot of stuff with that department that discusses me. And, you know, just a whole lot of that. So, yes, no forensic testing has been done on anything on that vehicle, on the clothing, on the airbags, nothing. You know, I had to demand and ask for fingerprinting to be done. So when you read that in the report, Esther, that's because I asked for it. They're not going to put it in there because they make them look bad. Or Mr. Robinson asked us to do fingerprinting, so we did finger. They're not going to say, they say, well, we did fingerprinting on blah, 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 so make themselves look good. But I can tell you, I don't know what kind of stuff they use to do fingerprinting, but that car do not have any fingerprinting dust on it, as if somebody did any kind of fingerprinting. But, you know, that's another thing to be said. I do have those pictures. Also, thank you so much, Carolyn. I already got your message yesterday. And yes, I think I responded to you. Yes, I did. But thank you so much for being the first that want to go with the ambassadors of Glendale. And I really, really appreciate that. You doing that for me. And I will discuss that detail with you, what it all entails. And I really appreciate you. See, that's what I need right there is your support. You support me in all kind of ways. Like I say, out there in the searches, in the desert out there, braving that heat, braving that terrain. And also you came out to see the distribution to help with those flyers. And now you're asking to do this. I really appreciate that. God bless you. Also, thank you, Abundance Matthews, for your question. Have they looked into the young lady he was supposedly talking to on the text? Just like they did for the guy at the well site that last seen my son, the same thing they do with everybody else that had any involved my son. They just ask them a question, they tell them their story, they put it in their report. No, in my opinion, what I know, what they told me, they don't vet their story. They don't see if it's true or not. Because you know what? The last thing I would have done is put this woman's text messages, for instance, in my report when I didn't get the other side of the text messages. You know, I didn't get my son's story. You know, I'm telling you what makes me disgusted too. And I don't want to put them out like that. No, I just keep that to myself. But you know what? There are some people out there that will make suggestions that her text message was they see my son's text messages on the side. Well, show me those text messages. You know, if you go out there and you're saying certain things, that's you know, bad. You know what I'm saying? That's something I hold against you, because unless you got some proof and you show me that, show me. Everything in my son's phone was deleted, like I told you guys before, and I promise you, the phone was with my son. And that they say it's something similar. This guy said something like, "Oh, we got out the trash on the phone." That phone delete the trash itself, period, after 30 days. And they have done no forensic work on that phone. I'm doing the forensic work. I'm paying out my own money. You guys help doing the forensic work on that phone. My as investigator didn't do it. The investigator now haven't done it. Buckeye haven't done it. I'm doing it myself. So nobody can say they had any kind of forensic work done on that phone, and they got anything out the trash can on that phone. That's deleted stuff. Because the thing is deleted, so where they can't get it, it deletes after 30 days, and it was well after 30 days when they decided to look at that phone. They asked me for the password. My investigator, he dang sure it was way after 30 days, and it was impossible to get it. He didn't do any forensic work on it. So when people start making these, saying these things out in public, you got to start asking these questions like, why are they doing that? Why are you coming out with some stuff to try to make yourself look right or something? Or why are you doing it? What's your purpose? What's your agenda? What's your hope? Because that's when I start asking questions. I start looking at you sideways about certain things, and then I'm looking at you as part of what's going on. So have they looked into the young ladies he was supposedly tested to? As far as I know, they just let this lady send her own text messages into their report, and that's it. That's it. And they ran off with it, and the news media run off with it and say, "Hey, Daniel said this and this that happened, blah blah blah." How we know? What are they full conversation? And the way it appears, they put it in there. make it like Daniel and this lady knew each other for like a few days. No, they knew each other for at least 2 weeks. They knew each other for a while. And so they definitely messing up on that and putting that in a report. A hearsay. I call it hearsay. You go in the court of law, it's called hearsay, one-sided. And that department decided to do that and put that in their report. I do have a question here. Would his college friends, I guess, but I don't know if that is the question. But I do have a question here from Ann Brown. Thank you, Ann Brown, for coming in for Facebook. Have the authorities questioned the girl that Daniel was hanging out with? and that's again, they questioned her and they took her answer. I guess asked her the question, tell me your side of the story, and she went. It wasn't that she told. She just basically gave text messages. So they went there and she gave them text message. And like I said, when I say gave them text message, they didn't give it to her. She uploaded herself. They gave her the site where they uploaded to. The volunteer on her own messages. And if you guys look at the time, if you look at that text message they have on their report, they can't delete it, or they can. I see them change the stuff on their report, sentence wise and everything from the original report, the final report that they gave me. But they have all these new reports. But one thing, you look at that timeline on that text messages from that girl, it's missing the timestamps on some of that stuff. Almost appear that somebody can type in what they want to. It's missing time. So you know how phones say on such day at such time, this person said that. And even if it's the same day, it say such date, such a time, the time might be a little different. Then the next message come up, or the next whatever this person said on those times. At a certain point, when it comes to those little weird things they're trying to say, Daniel was saying, it don't have a time stamp on there. So it appears, in my opinion, that it was fabricated and put there to have my son to say this and say that and put in those orders. So you know what? You guys can look into that yourselves and come with your own judgment when you look at those. So also, thank you again, Ann, for the question. I kind of ran up on this comment section. So if I missed some questions, I apologize. There we go. I do have Yeti Concon. Thank you so much for your questions. Talk with his colleagues, friends. Would Daniel have spoken to them in confidence? Daniel have a lot of friends, so I'm sure he talked to somebody. He don't know to talk to me and my family, his mother. He talked to his friends too, I'm sure. There's some things they probably know that I don't know. I was a kid once. I'm not telling my parents definitely everything. You guys know you don't. Some things you just don't tell. But he might tell his siblings. But one thing that we know for sure is that Daniel have he's a grown man. He can do what he want to do. I'll make sure let him know he's a grown man. But I'm sure he's spoken with his colleagues and his friends and his college friends and things like that. He talked to them all the time. He had some that came to visit him in Arizona. So thank you, Sophia, for that. I really appreciate what you're saying there. And thank you for coming out with your own business to be a part of it, do everything you can to help me in this endeavor. What a blessing to be able to help another family when they are still looking for your son. When you still look, okay, I thought you were talking about something else, but yeah, you're right. It is a blessing to be able to help another family out there, and hopefully, young man, he, get back with me and he can get on this Q&A this evening, and also to be able to, help him with everything. I gave him all the information I can. It's much more, he and I are going to talk about, to help him to search for his mother. So you guys pray for that. She just went missing a few days ago now, and if you guys can pray for that family, that they get some closure and some strength, and that they bring that she come home safely. She come home safely. They find her safe. Like I told him, I really have faith and belief that that's exactly what's going to happen. But just going through the fear of that of the moment is really hard for that family. And if you guys can pray for their strength, that'll be a blessing. So if you can do that, God bless you on that too. Also, Abundance Matthews, thank you so much for coming out here again. Thank you so much. I remember the name now. Thank you so much, and I'm sure that's the Abundance. I like that name. All right, Wicked Crafter has a question here. Has anyone begun investigating the integrity of the Buckeye Police Department or the politicians supporting them? Yes, they have. The chief of police have gotten suspended for falsifying documents and stuff like that. That department got in trouble for falsifying documents. And I in my opinion, I can look at it now. I can look at the differences what they're doing with the support. You start off saying you don't have no more case. You give me hey, Ms. Robinson, I gave you a partial report now, and when the detective finished, he's gonna give you the full report, the final report, right? Rather, they gave me this vehicle and everything, gave me all the stuff in that meeting. That's what they told me. Right then, they gave me a partial report, and when Detective Biff finished writing his stuff up, they finished that, he's gonna give me the full report, which he ended up doing, give me a full report, final. That was it. No more report. They even want to come on their Facebook page. We have more leads to follow. This, that, blah, blah, blah. They told my investigator not even investigating when he came on. And then all of a sudden, because you guys have been doing what you have been doing, I'm really grateful for you all. Y'all been hitting up the Buckeye Police Department, demanding them to do this, sign that petition, and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, they're telling the media, "Oh, we doing a report. We doing an investigation. We doing this." Investigating on what? You gave me everything. You gave my investigator everything. You gave my investigator your black box data. What you investigating? I mean, what are you investigating? So there's a bunch of BS. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that the integrity of that department to me is whack. And I don't trust them. I don't believe them, and that's why I have a hard time. I tried at the beginning to trust this department. And when I look in hindsight, looking at certain things now, the fact they put me and my daughter in an interrogation room, nobody else. The guy from that well site, he never been in an interrogation room, as far as I know. This is all I know, what they told me. He never been in no investigation room. The young lady had never been in no investigation room. They went to her house and let her upload on stuff. They believe what this man said at the well site. Nobody had been in an interrogation room. Just me and my daughter, when we sitting there strolling on the phone on the other side of the table, showing them bank statements and stuff. They never even asked for paperwork. This all the falsification. The fact that my searches that I have done that have never been a part of have found human remains out there, and then they take credit for it in the public eye and with the FBI saying, "Oh, we found these human remains out there while searching for that." I found that out through a volunteer who happened to be going on the Maricopa County's website, and they saw that. Wait a minute, I thought you, Mr. Robinson, your searches found these human remains. I hate when they keep doing that, trying to take credit for what the volunteers and myself have been doing out there in that desert. I called up Maricopa County and I told them, "Hey, this is falsifying documents. This is falsifying." They called me, they sent me a message, and they apologized and they corrected that error, they call it. But so that's the whole point. I don't believe nothing they do, and I don't believe anything they say, because you know what? They all about covering their own self and trying to make themselves look good. In my opinion, they can give a damn about Daniel being missing. It's all about them, how their appearance are, and it's not their son, it's not their family member, and they don't care less. They can care less because, like I told you guys before, action speaks louder than words. They have not come to any of my searches. They came to 2 of my searches under my request. The first one, they came up in the hand, and they came to my searches. I requested them for a specific reason, not to be part of the search, but specific reasons, because I needed certain things. We need equipment and things out there in the search in that desert. As for specific things, and they hadn't come up with nothing, empty-handed. I don't need no extra volunteer cops walking around with a gun and just walking around and riding around in their vehicles while we on the ground doing line search. We don't need them out there. We don't need you doing that. We need you to do some work. To come out like that the second time, "Oh, we're gonna do this and that," because the media was really on it. "Hey, we're gonna see what they're gonna do." This media was saying, "We're gonna see if they're gonna come out there, Miss Robinson, this time." I'm sure they were calling them up and everything. They showed up. But again, they showed up empty-handed, half empty-handed. They didn't do a proper search. They couldn't do a search of the well that I was asking them for, and they shouldn't go to the mines that I had sent them out to, the coordinates. But they did. They called me, so, "Oh, we're gonna call you in a few days," where they ended up doing a weekday. And they came out, like I said, with that little fluffy little white little, and I'm telling my team, I'm gonna send the pictures out, but little white little dog, cute little thing, and calling it a cadaver dog, and also had some camera they were going in the well with that can't even be submergible underwater. So I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So no, I don't say they have, in my opinion, any kind of integrity in themselves, because they would be calling me. They see me out here for 10 months. That whole when I say this, the mayor of Buckeye, they haven't reached out to me. They know I'm out there. The assistant mayor, he knew I'm out there. The whole city council there, they know I'm out there, and the city manager. All of them sitting up there, and I came to the city council meeting, and they still haven't reached out to me to even say, "Hello, Mr. Robinson," or "I apologize," or "I'm praying for you, what you're going through. We're going to try to do the best we can." None of that. None of that. You know what I'm saying? Why I had to come to them? and they don't come to me. You know what I'm saying? No kind of respect. I'm out there with their citizens of Buckeye out there in that desert searching for my son. They volunteer their money, and we're recovering other people's family out there, and they came and said hello to me, and that's what's going on in my searches. So, no, I don't think anything in that department or that city itself have any kind of integrities in themselves and whatever's going on in that department, because they don't. They can care less. They care about their own pockets or whatever going on in that department and that city, and that's exactly what it is. All right. Abundance. Matthews, thanks so much for your question. Someone said online he was speaking with a young lady, or he went over there to have drinks with them prior. Well, sometimes it's almost like a story. If you had a room of people and you got them, put them in a circle, you start off one person, you whistle something in the ear, and by the time we get to the other side over there, the story changes up. Well, that story changes up. I even heard on the news one time they said my son was delivering liquor, and to me, I saw that was an undertone dog whistle a little bit, but I just left that alone. There's unaffiliated of Fox News, of course, but the thing is, no, he was doing his job as a Instacart person, delivering to these two young ladies too. And you guys got to ask this question too. It wasn't just one young lady, Abundance Matthews. It's two women there that night. We still to this day don't know who this other person is. They haven't asked any questions. They haven't asked her story. We don't know her name. We don't know who she is, or what planet she's from, or whatever. We don't know nothing about her, right? But we know she was there. My son told me about it personally in our 2-hour conversation, and also from what the Buckeye Police Department said, but they didn't put that in their report. So, anyway, there's two young ladies there. My son was delivering their Instacart order. Something went wrong with the order, my son told me. This is for my son. And he fixed it. It had something to do with their wine order. They ordered some wine here in Arizona. You actually can order wine through Instacart. You can order, as you know, South Carolina a little different. You definitely not do anything like that. But he's delivering their stuff, and their order was screwed up some kind of way, and he fixed it for them. They're really pleased about it. I guess they liked him. He's a handsome young man. They invited him in. My son spent the night over there with them, and the story from that point went on. So you guys know most of that story. And even though the story was not necessarily true, not according to my son, but the rest of the story that they put out there. But yes, yes, he did speak with these young ladies there, and he spent the night there, and he was gone the next day. And sometime they had some discussions on the text messages back and forth, and some of those text messages I'm sure is gone. And according to his phone records that the Buckeye Police Department never got from us and put in the report, it don't match up with his phone records. We can't see what the text messages say, but there's some text messages between those two that's not in their report. Exchanges between those two. But it is what it is. They allowed this lady to put it up on her own report, her own text messages up there, and that's what we got. So, all right, I have a question here from Ciro's Nation. Thank you, Ciro Nation, for being here on this Q&A again, and I love your questions. Did you receive the email I sent regarding the theory about Daniel's vehicle? No, I did not. I'm saying emails about the theory about his vehicle. No, I did not. I can't say I didn't because I didn't recall it if I did, but no, I did not. As it stands right now, I got the email address from the website. Yes, so if you did, it's please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. I'm sure I would check that this evening, or I'm sure since you said that, one of the team members are probably looking at it now. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. CEO's Nation. Thank you so much for your question. I really like your questions, and I really appreciate your help on everything you do. So thank you so much. Also, if you guys, like I say, having more questions, please feel free to ask your questions. I would like to hear those, and I would like to answer the ones I can. If I can't answer it, then I will let you know. But thank you so much. I want to say this real quick, D-Love. Thank you so much for putting that up there. If you guys can share that hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel, hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. If you guys can add that to your social media, that help things get flowing, because we are coming up on 25th to have that fast and prayer. And if you guys can join in, I really, really, really appreciate it, because I've seen some miracles and things happen in the best interest for this whole, not just for my family and myself in this case, but it helped me personally and also help other families. So, and yourself, I'm sure, you know what I'm saying? So it's really important that we get that done. We had to put God first in everything. And, that's one of the ways he gives us a tool is prayer. And he also give us some other things through our fasting. So some things come by fast and prayer. So we have to do that. We have to get that done. All right. T and Wildflower. The question is, will you be speaking at the next city council meeting? I'm not sure yet. We're still working on that. Talking with my team, we're debating on that. We're trying to see the effectiveness. Like I told you before, I probably go up there till my face turn blue and keep going up to and they showing me that they don't care. Out there, went out there, they only give you 3 minutes to speak, and you try to squeeze in whatever you can say in that little 3 minutes. And they looked me with their stone eyes and their stone face. And when I got off that thing, that's the last time I seen them, and I didn't hear anything from them. So, like I said before, in my opinion, they can care less about what's going on in their city. I'm finding human remains out there in my searches with the volunteers finding it, and they can care less about it, what's going on in their city. But they're the city managers, they're the mayor, they're the assistant mayor, and they're a city council, and all they care about is bridges and how much money they can get coming in their city. And with these projects and these stuff they're doing, and not worried about a young man geologist who made their city great about make sure these wells are safe and things like that, and that they produce these waters and stuff like that. They can care less about a young man who's now 25 years old doing his job. He's a scientist, contributes to society, pay his taxes, love his family. He's a young man trying to grow up in life. They can care less about that. So I mean, they show themselves. Like I'm saying, actions speak louder words. You can say what you want to with your mouth, but you know what? We can see, like the Bible said, by your fruits you bear. You can say whatever you want to say. Your actions don't show it. It ain't true. All right. Have you had a opportunity to speak with with a congressperson from your state of Arizona, and can they get you any more resources? I tried to go up to, I went to a senator's office, but no, not a congressperson that I can remember. No. But yes, I'm still learning some of these politicians in Arizona who is, willing to talk and, and work with me and things like that. So all that stuff is in the working. Try to think of everything we can. When I say we, I have a team now. Try to think of everything you can to, further this thing with Daniel. I mean, it's a fight, you guys. It's a big fight. I'll be honest with you. I'm telling you guys, I'm tired. I'm tired mentally and a lot of times physically. But I have my, my son. He's out there and he need me. So he need his family. He needs his mother. He needs his siblings, and he needs you guys to continue to support. So, I'm just gonna keep pushing it. All right. All right, have the Concon. Thank you for your question. Can you get satellite images around the dates of the crash? Yes, I tried that, and I just think for me, I'm just not hitting the right sources, and I'm trying to find it because I found this seemed like thousands of them out there where you can get information about the satellite, and I just don't know who to pick because the ones I do, some of them are like government agencies, and you can't get access to certain things, and some is outdated or some is overdated, meaning that the date, the last update was before Daniel went missing. Then you have some that was updated before Daniel went missing. Then the next update, of course, is after he went missing. So it didn't serve any purpose for me to get anything so far. So far, I haven't gotten anything, to make a long story short. And I do have people, volunteers and people out there who trying themselves. And I have yet to anybody come to me and say, hey, yeah, I got something from that specific date to show that Daniel's either there or not there, out there in that desert. So that's one thing I'm working on too. Just like Buckeye should have been doing, is verify if my son even been out there in the first place. Those don't take a person's story and run with it. I don't care if he go on 200 shows telling his side of the story. I'm not calling a man a liar. I'm just saying his story don't make sense and they need to be vetted. And you go through it and make sure his story is right. It's corroborated the right way. You can say all the, hey, this man tell me this. Yeah, I corroborated this. just like they did with that so-called federal law enforcement officer type deal. You know, you can say it with your mouth, but what you did to verify it, you know what I'm saying? So whether it's because you just want to believe it or something, but I don't know. Question is from Kimberly, did Daniel have any guns? No. If so, are they accounted for? No, he did not have any weapons. Hindsight, I would have requested him to have weapons, for his own personal safety. Arizona is a state that is open carry state. I often do it. In Arizona, you have to assume that everybody's carrying. And so it's probably wise to be able to protect yourself if you can. So I'm not saying everybody need a gun, but personally, I wouldn't see myself without it. But my son, no, he didn't have any weapons and things like that. So thank you for that question. All right, Rachel. I missed the question. I thought that was I saw the O, so I thought that was a question. But thank you so much, Rachel, for being here. Thank you, Gwen, for being here and all that you do in the background. I really love you, and thank you so much. God bless you for everything. May 25th, fast and prayer. Thank you so much for that reminder. If you guys can do that fast and prayer for Daniel, the hashtag there, and add it. I really appreciate it so much. And also, I want to mention real quick, you guys, so you won't forget that the son did an interview with Paramount Films. They put the episode out there now. You can go on. I'm post the post on the website. But you guys can go on. I'm trying to make sure I get the name correctly here, so I don't want to mislead anybody. But the episode about my son's story. This thing I've been filming with them. Never Seen Again is the name of the episodes. What name of the show itself is season 1. You look for episode 6, season 1, episode 6, and what I'm saying, it's on the Paramount Films. You can go get it and see if I can get this exact wording for it. But it's Paramount Films. You get on the Paramount Plus. You have to get the app, or to be able to watch it, or get Paramount. Just go in and get an application on your Play Store or whatever, and go to Paramount's, and you can watch it. And like I said, it shows it's called Never Seen Again. Tyler Perry is doing the moderating for the show itself. And then also, like I said, you go under season 1, because there's only one season. It's the first season of it. And season 1, episode 6. You just watch Daniel's story on there. And I really appreciate it if you give the support and share that. Also, like I said, it's on Paramount Pictures. So Paramount Plus, you can go and get that. All right. And then also, I do have more questions here. Again, thank you so much for putting that up, Nikki O'Shea, for putting that up, fast and prayer for Daniel, the hashtag. I really need that. Thank you so much. I do have a question from Twistina. Thank you, Twistina, for coming out this morning from the Q&A. The question is, did Daniel use social media? Yes, he did. He had a Facebook and Instagram, as far as I know. He may have some other things that I don't know. But I think he had at least Facebook and Instagram, maybe even a TikTok, or I forgot to call the other thing, but something like that. So yes, he used social media. I wonder if you could tell if he was interacting with anyone right before he went missing. One of the things was, as a lot of you may not know, a lot of his Instagram, everything was deleted off his Instagram before he went missing. His pictures, everything. Daniel takes a lot of pictures and things, everything he do with his friends, to you name it, on his Instagram, but all of it was deleted. But the weird part is, nothing on his Facebook was deleted, and they have some of the same pictures. Even though I think he put more pictures on the Instagram than he did on Facebook, but some of the same pictures there. So I wouldn't think it was because of the pictures that he decided to delete it. It was because of something else. I'm not sure what that is. She was trying to figure that part out. But everything on his Instagram was deleted, to a point where Instagram was actually removing his page and putting it back up, back and forth. But it's still there. But everything else is intact. All the other social media, as far as I understand, for my children, and but I do know about Facebook is still intact. But as in talking to anybody, I don't have any indications of that, especially off the Instagram, but definitely on Facebook, he barely used it. I didn't see any indications of him communicating with anybody. And I don't have access to his inbox on that Facebook, so don't know. All right. Mary Vaughn, thank you so much for being out here for this Q&A. And thank you, Ann Brown, for your question off of Facebook. Thanks so much for coming in and being a part of this Q&A. Let me see if I can scroll back down here. I just lost my place here. I don't want to miss anybody's messages. Okay, there you go. All right, Ann Brown, thanks so much. Why can't you get phone records from his carrier? I have his phone records. Yes, we do constantly get his phone records. I do have that. I'm just saying Buckeye don't have any phone records. So those guys put in their report, oh, we obtained phone records from the family. And I'm telling you again, you guys, they called this right here. And Ms. Robbins, can you show us Daniel's phone records? Yes, I can. And we got it up there. My daughter on her phone and strolling down the screen like that. They sit on the other side of the table and strolling down and they looking at it from across the table. Oh, okay. Can you show me the bank record? I called USAA Bank and did whatever I had to do because I'm a sponsor and got limited information I can. And they listened on the phone and over the phone because I had on speaker for the agent, whatever. And then I get his bank stuff on my phone. I stroll down and they put in a report. Oh, we got make you guys believe they got kind of papers, records from his phone company. No, they did not. They didn't get nothing from us. They didn't get nothing from the phone company. I don't know what they do up to this date, but back then, no, nothing. So they have nothing. But we do have the phone records constantly. I get those. So nothing. There's no movement on his phone stuff. So thank you. All right, Mary Vaughn. Question: did you ask for the report from the police? For the report, yes, I did. I asked them that 2 days after they turned this vehicle over to me. Like I said, the vehicle was found on the 19th of July. They turned it over to me on the 20th of July. They gave me the vehicle on the 20th, the very next day, and they threatened me, if you don't get it up out of here, we're going to have it towed out of here, and you're going to have to pay storage fees. That was their, to me, threat, that I had to get it out of there, and at all costs fast. But, I convinced them to keep it there for a few days until I could find a place. But at the same time, I had a meeting that was coming up the day after that, 2 days after that. And I was able to do that meeting with Chief Hall and the rest of them. And that's when, in that meeting, I asked for a report. I need a police report. I need to see what you guys have done so far. I need to see this. Chief Hall told me they only had a partial report at the time. The guy, they gave it to me immediately in that meeting. But he promised me they would have a final report because they're done with this case. They're done with it. Give me a final report once the detective finished writing it up that day or whatever. And sure enough, the detective gave me the final report, and I do have that final police report, unredacted. Then, like I said, you guys, once you guys started hitting them up really hard, and once the thing went nationally and all the stuff, all of a sudden they, as far as I understand, probably got like 5 or 6 reports now. I don't know. But I just know that the original report that was done, I have that. And if you compare that to what they got now, you'll see some sentences and stuff like that change in their favor. So that's the kind of things that's going on with that. So yes, I do have that. All right. Now, let me see if I have any more questions here. I am going into the hour and 43 minutes. And so I'm smiling because I hear my team members in my head right now say, hey, you on there too long, So I'm trying to get down to it. I want to get everybody's question in as I can. Did Daniel ever mention any competition at work? No, he did not. Or people taking credit for his work? No, he did have not. He haven't had any kind of. Only thing I heard Daniel ever tell me personally, he had any kind of something he didn't like about his job, and that thing would be that he had to go spend his own money. His whole travel using his vehicle, putting a lot of miles on his vehicle. He had to travel these different cities, all this gas money that cost him to, buying this equipment, like the safety vest you see on the ground there, all the stuff he needed out there for that specific job. He had to furnish that stuff out of his own pocket, and then he had to turn this thing called a expense report at the end. Everything he spent out there hotel, whatever case may be. He had to put on a expense report for them, for his company, and then they'll take their time and give him his money back. You know what I'm saying? And I was told that that's the reason why he didn't tell me that himself, why he ended up doing Instacart. Danny didn't tell me that himself. Like I told you, we share everything in this family. We talk about a lot of things, and I didn't know he was doing the Instacart until Daniel went missing. It's because I'm sure I know my son. I'm sure he's a man. He's a man. He had proven his manhood. My son was taking care of himself. We're going on 3 years out of his own way. I call it away from the cradle of his parents. And he started off with his little vehicle, had landed him a great job, making great money. And like I said, taking care of himself. And then eventually bought this vehicle here. He's very proud of his first vehicle, brand new vehicle to him. And he was really anxious to show it to me. So last thing he wanted me to hear that, hey, Dad, I may have having a little financial problems here. These people taking their time, giving my money back, and my bills will end up getting late. He don't want to tell me that because he I probably asked him what's going on, and he probably had a little pride in himself. He wanted to do it himself and make sure he handled his business, which I'm proud of him. I'm proud of that boy. Anyway, I do have a question from ex-Navy Girl 81. Have you tried to obtain deleted text messages through Google or the cloud? Yes, I have. And right now, the phone is being done, taken care of, where I will get everything I can. I'm sure they find all of that information. So and get those things back so we can find out what really happened. And the sad part is, I'm sure once it come back, that text message that the department have and they report, I'm gonna publicize what I found, and then we're gonna go from there to see why they decided to let somebody upload their own information and have the media painting my son a certain way out there. So I definitely would like to see that. So I have a kind of suspicions to what we would find. So I know, by me knowing my son. So but anyway, thank you so much, ex-Navy Girl, for your questions. I really appreciate it. I'm almost down to the bottom here. And I do have a question here from, it bounced up on me. D Love, I did see your question there. I had to go back again. Okay, there we go. Have a question here from D Love. Mr. Robinson, and thank you for being here, D Love. Mr. Robinson, do you know when it will be, or do you know when it will be we can speak at the city council meeting? I've to third, and it was not an option to speak. Well, that city council meeting, you got to go online. You can do it online to apply for it. You have to do it, I think it's a few hours before the actual meeting. I tell you should do it like at least a day or two or whatever before the meeting itself. It's always I forgot which I know it's like a first or second something or something like that, or first and third or something like that date. I can't remember exactly what it is. My team know it. But they have it online. You go to Buckeye website, the Buckeye City of Buckeye website, and you have the information about the city council, and you just have to sign up for it to speak. Like I said, but you have on 3 minutes. And the funny part about it, when I decided to speak, when I put in there, I'm sure they realized who I am coming up there to speak the first time. They changed the rules because the second time I was going to come up there, they changed the rules. They had the rules where, they changed the rules up to me coming up there the first time. The rules, I won't say really changed it. They added something I hadn't seen on there when I went back on there. They had something on there that said, I think it's a total of 12 minutes. They give 3 minutes, but it's on 12 minutes total for the public to speak, right? So that way they limit how many people actually come up there and speak. Because I'm sure a lot of people that showed up, they probably anticipated I was gonna have a lot of people come up there, and they'll be sitting there for hours because everybody want to say their little piece. You say their little 3-minute piece. Can you imagine that? Saying their little piece for 3 minutes each, and be up there for hours hearing about my son in this case that they don't want to talk about. They want to avoid discussing. So I'm sure that would have been trouble for them. So. Yes, you can go there, but you please need to go there like a day on the website, a day or so before the meeting to apply. That's my recommendation for you. So, All right, I do have another question here from Mary. Thank you, Mary. Who deleted all his stuff off his phone? I wish I knew that. I really wish I know that. All I can say is the only person who told me he had his cell phone off the scene, though, is the detective. He said he got it off the scene and he put it in his pocket and nobody else had any access to it. So that's the only thing he told me. So as in anybody else have anything to it, I don't know who had access to it and who deleted anything from that phone. So I don't know that. And that's why I need to find the answers to why those things was missing off my son's phone, especially the memory card, what was on the memory card, and why it had been removed and taken out of there. So, all right. Let me see here. Do I have anybody else? If not, I will be closing this Q&A. And, you know, again, you guys, if you can, please, and I'm putting these little things up here. If you can, please come on this evening's Q&A. Hopefully, I will have that family member. His like I say, his mother went missing a few days ago. He wants to share her story, and you know, he needs your help. You know, what I'm saying, out there and on the searches and things like that. They're currently doing searches. He needs your help, and if you guys came out there to help me, I know you can go out there and help them too. Under my circumstances, I cannot be out there today, but my plan, like I told him, I would be out there if his mother don't get found today. I'll be out there to help him. So, you know, I'm hoping she do. I hope he come on here before he come on here. His mother's found. He can come on here and say my mother's been found, and I really have faith in that, and I believe that can happen. So, hopefully, you know, say he come on and be able to say that or whatever he else he need to say. So, I will reach out to him as soon as I get off the Q&A this morning. Reach back out to him. We were talking last night, but reach back out to him again. And see what he can do. And also I have another family who's still thinking about coming on, you know, just like myself, just like me. I don't like being in front of cameras, believe it or not. So it was just that, you know, you start getting used to it and you learn how to, like I told her, you know, saying you do it for your loved one and then it becomes something that you're able to do. So when I say I don't like it, I just don't like it because it makes me nervous. But now I have got past that, that nervousness and things like that. So, and I'm sure that's what she's going through, feeling nervous. So, you know, hopefully she can. I would like to tell the story for her, but I don't have the full details that she can say. So hopefully she'll come on and want to do that. And I encourage anybody, you know, to also, like say, build your own channel. That's the way you get your loved one's story there. So please, you know, please, that's one of the biggest things. Get your website. Start off, like I told him, start off with your website. You get a platform going, start off with the website. And so people can have something to come up to learn more about what's going on. You know, also use that website to recruit people. Go reach out to these groups, like whether they are motorcycle groups to drone groups or hiking groups or whatever. Reach out to these groups and tell them what's going on, and these people will come out there and help search and things like that. So it's a lot of that. And then also make sure you're on social media. Social media is your friend. You know, if I'd known a long time ago about TikTok, I heard about it. All thing I knew about TikTok at the time was my children came and said, "Yeah, you need to do TikTok because Daniel love TikTok and this and that, blah, blah." And you know, thing I can think of, like, oh man, you know, I'm not gonna be on TikTok dancing around. That's all I see on TikTok. I'm not the kind of man, you know, I'm not the kind of guy to be on camera dancing around and whatever they be doing. You know, that's what I thought it was for, but learned that TikTok is actually a great tool to get information out, and I use it now. So the question is from Wicked Crafter, are the local news people friendly or helpful? Yes, they are. Nicole Griggs and Josh Sanders, those two was the first in Arizona to help me get my son's story out there. I mean, those people was champions, and they still are, you know, champions who helped me, you know, get Daniel's story out locally. And then from that point, after the hard work, like I said, they helped also to get national attention and things like that. And I know a lot of people say it's because of the Petito case. I say I beg to differ. A lot of it can. I mean, the Petito case only showed the disparities that happens between people of color and you know, where we don't get that kind of attention and how hard it takes. Like I told my son, I'm gonna say it again. You know, sometimes as a black man, you have to work 3 times as hard just to get the same thing. But even after you do that, it still might not work out. So I'm not saying in this bad way, you guys, but that's exactly my story when it came to just getting my son's name out there. I had to work 3 months hard. I mean, I literally get no sleep. So that's why I say I get a little offended by that. And they put it onto a Petito family. That family's suffering. I think they was really using that to try to pin our families against each other some kind of way. It had, what they talking about had nothing to do with the Petito family. It had nothing to do with my family. That is what they try to do, to try to pin things together. But the facts and the statistics wise, yes, it's true. People of color get less attention and things like that. That's true. However, I say it's because of the hard work, the sleepless nights, the putting out that information out there on social media, hitting up these people's friends and their families. When I say people, I'm talking about people that you can't get to, like these celebrities and whoever. You hit up their friends and their family to get that information to these people and get on their shows and their news channels and stuff like that. It took all of that. Took all of that for 3 straight months, hard stuff, to try to get things going. And so that's why I say I beg to differ on it's because of the Tito family. No, because of the Tito family and what happened of getting Daniel's story out there, people was able to see what happens a lot of times. And it happens with white families too, where they get bad police out there doing shady work and shoddy work or whatever, and it don't get no coverage. That's what some of the people I'm talking about now. I have some people who reached out to me. They have family members out there that nobody ever even heard about. So it happens to any family, but it just so happened it happens to people of color a lot more. So the thing is, like I said, yeah, they're very helpful to answer your question. Very helpful, very friendly, and I'm really grateful for those two, especially, and then also the other ones that followed suit after Josh Sanders, like I said, Nicole Griggs did their thing. So I'm really grateful for both of them. Again, don't forget about the fast and prayer for Daniel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, you guys. Also, thank you again, Sophia. Thank you so much. I think I ran out of questions. I really appreciate you putting that information up there. Thank you for all the questions. Keep them coming. That's true. Primetime career Q&A. If you guys come on, I hope they have that family on. Talk about his mother. We're going to find his mother. So if you guys can help out with that, definitely please come back. First and third Tuesday for that question about the city council meeting. It's the first and third Tuesday of every month. So I recommend you guys do it like a day before that first and third Tuesday. Put in at least a day before if you want to be a speaker, because I say those spots are run out. I think they want to get like a total of 5 people because of that 15-minute limit they put on there, just to limit down how many people can stand up there and talk. So yes, and that she is right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. That family is suffering, and people sit there and try to pin up our families, like I said, against each other, and that family suffered just like that. When I heard that story the first time, they say, "Hey, what you think about this Petito thing?" I didn't know nothing about no Petito. I'm busy trying to find my son, working hard. I found a little young lady. She's around the same age of my son. Yeah, that was devastating. I don't think I can think about this family. To me, it was devastating because I'm like, oh my God, here it is, another young person missing. Yeah, they're suffering just like I'm suffering. But then the people say, hey, but do you see how they get this thing of nation? They doing this and doing that. And I'm like, I still didn't know what they're talking about until I actually look and I say, well, okay. And I did feel a certain way because I felt a certain way because I'm like, well, wow, I can't get the Buckeye Police Department to even come out to my searches. I can't get them to look at my son's this thing here as a possible criminal activity, at that time. I mean, it was really offensive to me, not from the Tito family standpoint. I'm saying the fact that I had to really didn't get nothing. No kind of outside agencies to come in and they're like, so when I saw that stuff, yeah, it's bothersome. But then they started trying to, reporters, to me, in my opinion, felt like they was trying to pin us up against each other. Hey, what you think? No, I think the family, just like you're saying, Christina, the family is suffering. It has jack to do with anything the media is saying about a family getting more attention. They deserved the attention. That girl deserved the attention that I had to speak for the young lady. I'm not going to speak for the guy, but that family deserved to get that coverage and that attention and all that law enforcement and everything else they deserve. But my family deserve it too, is what I'm saying. everybody's family. The man that's coming on, hopefully come on this evening, his family hopefully is getting that kind of urgency and things like that that's going on. Nobody, no matter what color you are or anything, should be going through what I had to go through for my son. My family had to go through to try to find Daniel. I mean, to this date, I haven't got the police department to spend any kind of money. They spent money on that doggone reconstructionist, and I know how much I paid mine, and it's in the thousands. And you pay these guys that money, but you couldn't help me get a simple drone that I was trying to get out there, or bring a real camera that could submerge on the water for that same amount of money. They can't even do that. Couldn't call. They said they put in a report. Oh, we work with outside. What outside agencies you working with? I never met them. They never said nothing to me. So you can say what you want to say, but like I'm saying, I'm going off the tangents. But Christina, like I said, I agree with you on that. That's definitely is not that family's fault or what goes on in this country. What happens is it tends to go a certain way a lot of times, and that's it just so happened to be my family, and I'm sure there's a lot of other families too. Like I said, that don't get the police involvement that should happen at the beginning, and that urgency and the respect and all that kind of stuff that goes along with what should have been happening in this case. I should not be having everything that my son had at that scene in my possession. That should have never happened. There should have been fingerprinting done on the scene. There should have been evidence markers and everything else you think of. And there should be all that stuff should be in an evidence locker just in case it turns out that foul play happened to my son. These people destroyed the Buckeye Police Department, destroyed any possibility of a conviction. For instance, if somebody was raised their hand right now and said, "Yes, I did it to your son," or something, God forbid, they did that. They did that. So that's the kind of thing you got to think about. So when you look at the scene right here and to know that I have everything, they haven't done any forensic work on that scene. Only thing forensically they done is when I requested for them to do fingerprinting, which they still didn't give me an answer to what they found. So like I said, the offense that comes from that, Christina, is definitely the offense if I had been offended, it comes from just that. When I had to watch that on TV, when it was kept tapping on my shoulder, hey, you notice this right here going on in the world. And they went, I think they must talk about this thing for a month out there about that case. And I busted my ass, excuse my expression, and still busting my ass to get law enforcement to do anything. So I mean, why is that? And so a person got to ask themselves the question, why that even my son's story went national, and I'm still, even after all of that, if I go to those same people that helped my son's story go national because of Petito, they call it because of the Petito thing. I go to those same reporters and the same networks, and they would not play Daniel's story because it ain't all about Daniel for them. It's all about some tension about this whole disparities and this and that. No, my son, forget that. My son is a human being, and he deserved the same kind of attention that any other family got. And all the urgencies and all the bells and whistles that come along with it. So and that's why I get offended, and that's why I can say what I say. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the one still out here on the ground searching for my son. These families ain't out there no more. Had to search for him. They found the loved one, unfortunately, the way it had to happen, but they have a closure, some form of closure. I don't have any. My family don't have any. We don't have anything. So, and just to see how they don't care about it. Like I said on this whole Q&A, mayor ain't calling me. City manager ain't reaching out to me. That chief of police over there, he ain't reaching out to me. That kind of stuff. So, you call that fair? No. All right. Thank you, Barry. Hit that like, share, subscribe button, share button. It helps with the algorithm. Thank you so much. And I've got this last question here from Pamela. Question: how far was the other sock found from the other sock with the pile of clothing? It's almost 3 miles away. It's near the well site where the other sock that was outside of it. And that's another thing. Here it is. This department collected all that stuff at the scene, gave it to me, and here it is. Almost 2 weeks later, my investigator found a sock that matches sock in the evidence bag they had. They hadn't been open, and and to that point, when the vehicle, when that SOC was found, my investigator opened that stuff to verify with the SOC if it was Daniels or not. And lo and behold, it matched SOC, and that stuff they collected off the scene, and they still say, "Oh, I don't see no foul play," or whatever the case may be. They just not. Well, that might not. That's not his SOC, but the SOC matched the SOC. Oh, that might not be his SOC. I mean, anything. They do everything they can to show that they want Daniel. They want Daniel had to ride around for almost 30 days in that desert without gas somehow. Get some red transfer paint off a cactus, I guess. We've got a lot of red cactus in the desert in Buckeye, y'all know. I'll tell y'all that. And wrecked his vehicle almost 30 days later and did all this himself on purpose because in his mind that day when he came to work, he decided in his mind with his brain injury that he wanted to get away from his family and join a monastery and become a monk or something, that he decided to do all this. He's a mastermind. He did all of this just to throw all of us off right now, that type deal. So, I'm being sarcastic, but it's the truth. And that's how I feel about it. But anyway, yes. And yes, about the clothes and the pile of clothes, and was the SOC close to the dirt road or fence entrance? No, it wasn't close to a dirt road or anything like. Well, it was close to one of the trails. The SOC that was found close to one of the trails near the well site. So anyway, thank you guys again for being a part of this Q&A. Sometimes I go overboard with the time length, and I know I hear it from my team members. And it is because I really care about you guys. Trying to get information out there. I care about my son. I love him, and I want to make sure that I get frustrated. You can tell over time. I can't help being. I can't be human either if I don't sometimes show my frustration. So I do get frustrated a lot, and it takes a lot to hold back a lot of stuff I would like to really say, especially with the things I do know that I can't share with the public, and just have to hold a lot of things in, and have to suffer those kind of knowledge and kind of things, and at the same time, keep a straight face, basically, you say, and keep your composure and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress, and it weighs on you. Like I told you guys before, I can't afford, and I don't have time, and I'm not allowed, in a sense, to even grieve my own son's disappearance. It weighs on you, you know what I'm saying? Because I know if I do, if I get to that kind of point, then I won't be as effective as I am right now. That's one thing we learned in the military. The mission comes first. I learned that a lot. When we lose battle buddies over there, they don't give us time to grieve. We grieve when we come back, We don't grieve while we're in the war situation. We just keep going, keep pushing it. And then when you come back, that's when you get your time to grieve. So that's our training. That's what we do. We're professional soldiers, and that's part of our training. So thank you guys for being here this evening. Love you again. Like I said, God bless each one of you. And I'll see you this evening, 5:30. That's Pacific time, and also Arizona time, PM. And it's also 8:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So I hope to see you then. I hope I have the young man on about his mother. Look forward to that. God bless you. You have a great day. God bless you.